Our first Tesla camping road trip was no picnic. We thought we had it all figured out, but the reality was we made a ton of mistakes. Some of them small and annoying, but one in particular was very expensive. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the mistakes we made and what we learned, so you don't have to go through the same headaches we did. On our very first night Tesla camping, we'd arrived at the campsite way too late. We'd just driven about 10 hours, we were exhausted, and honestly, we just wanted to crawl into bed. So we rushed it, inflated the mattress fully, threw the bedding on top, and called it a night. But the problem was, it was rock solid, way too firm. And I didn't want to start letting air out in the middle of the night and risk waking up my wife Rebecca. So I just lay there, tossing and turning, and barely slept. Which happened at the worst time, because we had to be up at 5 AM the next day to get going again. This one is easily avoidable, just don't rush this part. Give yourself enough time to get set up properly. Inflate the mattress, actually lie down on it, and if it feels too hard, let out a bit of air until it's comfortable. That first night's sleep makes such a difference. If you start off sleep deprived, it really sets the tone for the rest of the trip. Because it was our first big Tesla camping trip, and we were going to be away for weeks, we completely overpacked. We took too much stuff because we didn't know what we actually needed. And because we hadn't worked out our setup yet, we thought leaving the camp chairs and table outside overnight would save us space inside. But of course, we woke up to find them damp from the morning dew. So then I had to spend extra time wiping them down when we were trying to get back on the road. Later on in the trip, we realised those chairs and table actually fit perfectly fine in the front seats of the Tesla Model Y. We just had to be extra cautious when we were moving them around about the touchscreen. What I'd recommend is doing a practice pack up at home before you actually leave. Fold the seats down, pretend you're setting up camp, and figure out where everything goes. Because once the seats are down and you're sleeping in the back, the space you thought you had kind of disappears. Much better to figure that out on your driveway than after a long day of driving. This one still makes me cringe. Some nights we thought we'd locked the car, but we actually hadn't. Here's the thing, if you lock your Tesla from the app and you use phone key and the Bluetooth is still connected, the car isn't actually locked. Anyone could have opened the doors while we were asleep. And to make it worse, locking from the app would sometimes trigger the horn honk, which isn't the best thing when you're trying not to wake up the entire campsite at night. We figured out this simple fix. Always lock the car from the touchscreen before you settle in for the night. No horn honk, and the car is properly locked even with your phone inside. An easy mistake to make, but it's one of those things that you don't want to learn the hard way. Hey, sorry to butt in, I just want to ask you guys a small favour. So we have set ourselves a bit of a crazy challenge to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of October 2025. So we currently have 559 subscribers, so we're looking to basically double our subscriber count in the next 2 months, or I guess 1.5 months if you want to be accurate. So please do us a small favour and hit that subscribe button. Our most popular video only 2.5% of the people who watched were actually subscribed. So there's a massive amount of you guys watching just now who haven't yet hit that subscribe button, and we would be so thankful if you could just take literally 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It's going to massively support the channel and help us put out some awesome content for you guys going forward. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for subscribing, and we'll get back to the video right now. The fourth mistake happened at Lake Lugano in Italy. We'd had a long drive to get there and arrived with not much charge left in the battery. We left camp mode running through the evening and the night, and at some point, it just switched itself off. I woke up sweating because the climate control had stopped. Turns out, when your Tesla hits 20% state of charge, it automatically disables camp mode, so you have enough juice to get yourself to a charger. Sounds sensible, but the catch is, when camp mode shuts off, the car alarm switches back on. So if you roll over in your sleep and trigger the sensors, you can actually set your own alarm off at 3 AM. Not fun. The safer way is to arrive at your campsite with at least 60% charge if you can, and don't run camp mode all day. Just save it for when you're ready to go to sleep. If you need power earlier, use the keep accessories on option and turn off climate manually to save the battery. For context, in our Model Y, running climate in camp mode usually uses between 8 to 12% battery overnight. So that's the number that I keep in mind now whenever I'm thinking about planning charging stops. This one was both embarrassing and expensive. I'd spent ages planning the route, researching the campsites, all the fun stuff, but I never actually learned how to set up our tent properly. We did a quick test at home, saw that it inflated and thought, yep, works fine, and that was it. So when we hit the road, for the first week, we were basically just pegging down the corners and tying a couple of lines to the wheels of the Tesla. Then in the Alps, a massive storm rolled in and completely collapsed the tent. One of the big steel pegs ripped straight out of the ground and flew across, cracking the glass roof of our Model Y. That was a $2,000 repair bill. Luckily, insurance covered it, but it could have been a lot worse. If that peg had hit one of us instead of the car, I don't even want to think about it. So my advice, don't just check that your gear works, actually practice with it and learn how to use it properly. Because when you're clinging onto your tent in the middle of an alpine storm, that is not the time to be figuring it out. This one's minor, but it did cause a few sleepless nights before we worked it out. On the nights where we didn't use the tent and just closed the boot, my feet kept touching the boot lid. It sounds silly, but once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, and it woke me up several times during the night. The fix was just to push the front seats forward more and slide the mattress up a bit, which gave me the legroom I needed. But the problem was, because you're on a slope, the mattress would just slide back down during the night. If you're using a mattress that doesn't quite fit, a simple hack is just to use a spare blanket or cushion and stuff it in that gap at the bottom. We don't have to do that anymore because we switched to the Snoozo mattress, which fills the whole space and is longer. So I finally have loads of legroom. But for other setups, that little gap filler trick will make a big difference. So yeah, we've made all of the mistakes so you don't have to. If you're planning your first Tesla camping trip, I recommend checking out our essentials video next. We go through all the gear that you're gonna need to actually make it work. You can watch it by clicking over here. And if you want more Tesla camping stories and lessons from the road, don't forget to subscribe. We've got plenty more coming your way.